Hello, welcome to the Basketball Soapbox. I'm your host, Daniel Daly, and I'm trying something a little new here. I'm going to use the slides here, so get ready for a nice presentation. And if you like what you're seeing, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as we continue here. As you see as the thumbnail there, right up there in front, I think it's time for the Portland Trailblazers to trade Damian Lillard. And of course, Damian Lillard is a 6-time All-NBA, 7-time All-Star. Big shot taker, big shot maker, one of the clutchest players in NBA history, of course. One of the stalwarts for the Portland Trailblazers, came in as a rookie from Weber State. It really took that franchise over from LaMarcus Aldridge and kind of gave them a bridged gap between the Brandon Roy injury, the LaMarcus Aldridge years, and was able to put together a stretch that was very impressive. From a guy coming from his college, his small school like that. That was very awesome to see Damian Lillard, of course, be one of the best point guards in the NBA. Probably just a notch below Steph Curry, right? Like, he just doesn't have the championship, nor the team in Portland. And I feel like that's one of the main reasons why he needs to make a move here. And in 11 seasons, they have 7 playoff appearances. For the second best player in Trailblazer history, as you see there via Basketball Reference, and has only made it out the first round 3 times. And one of those were a conference finals run there. You can see in 2019 against the Golden State Warriors where they were swept. That was with CJ McCollum. That was with the Mama's Boys going into Oracle Game 1 and scoring 40 apiece. Unfortunately, they were not able to get a game in that series and advance to the finals, as many teams weren't able to do that. A lot of teams lose to the Golden State Warriors over that stretch. A lot of teams. There's no shame in that. From 2015 to 2022, even last year, if you weren't beating the Golden State Warriors, you were not going to do it. And you're looking there at that bridge gap where Steph Curry got hurt, Klay Thompson got hurt, Draymond Green got hurt over the course of those 2 years where the Warriors were trying to find their footing. And Portland Trailblazers didn't make any headway. They were able to lose in the first round in 2021. And the following year, of course, injuries to Dame, the trade with CJ McCollum, all the things going on there, they were not able to recover and make any ground in the Western Conference. And looking forward at this team, right, like you look at their playoff history of only advancing to the second round 3 times in the conference finals once. And again, I said, as they said, they lost to the Golden State Warriors. Outside of that, it's been a sturdy road, right? Like, they had that game winner against the Rockets, which is legendary. Him being such a young player and able to get that shot off against over Chandler Parsons and the Houston Rockets. And then they went up against the Spurs in the second round, where that was just a veteran Spurs team that got back to the finals that year and won the championship. So you can't look at them and say, hey, that's tough. They lost to the champions. Next year, they lose to the Grizzlies. The following year, they go up against the Los Angeles Clippers. That's where Blake Griffin broke his kneecap and Chris Paul broke his hand, which is very tough, right? Like, you took care of business. You won in 6 in that round. And then going up against the Golden State Warriors, who went to the finals, of course, one of the best teams in NBA history, and winning that one there, right? And then the next year, they get swept by the Warriors. There's no shame there. That's the Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant and all those guys. And then they go up against them next year, probably, which was the point in their franchise history where I was like, okay, they need to break up that backcourt of Dame and CJ, right? Because at that point, it's like you're just not going to get any further, right? And especially the Pelicans, that was the Rondo team with Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins. Like, at that point in time, I felt like that was the lowest point. So for them to turn it around the next year and go to the Western Conference Finals, it looked like I was wrong. That, of course, that big shot over Paul George followed up there in that first round, which is legendary, adding to Damian Lillard's catalog of big game shots. Going up against the Nuggets, a tough series that they won in 7. CJ McCollum really stepping up in that round and doing that thing there. And then the Golden State Warriors, where they got swept. It is what it is. They weren't going to beat the Warriors. That was known. The bubble season, they get in the first round against the Lakers, and they only win game 1. And then it was a sweep from there, a gentleman's sweep from there on. And then the Nuggets, they lose in 6 to the Nuggets last year, 2 years ago. Following up with that, they did not make the playoffs. So you're looking there and you're like, what is going on here? The eventual trade of CJ McCollum, the breakdown of Damian Lillard. They were able to come back, re-sign Anthony Simons, who's a nice young guard for them, sign Jeremy Grant, bring him in the offseason, extend Yusuf Nurkic there. And again, they missed the playoffs again, just falling short again, right? And you're thinking, what is the pathway for this team going forward? Fortunately for them, they received in the NBA draft lottery the third pick, with Brandon Roy being a representative there. And that's probably a godsend for Portland, right? You're looking at that and it's like, okay, there's a time here where we can restart, rebuild, send Damian Lillard to a franchise that he can help win. And he's done great in Portland, right? Like, he's done more than what was expected in Portland for them right now, right? And people are saying, no, trade the pick to bring in some help. And I'm like, huh? So in 11 years, we see Damian Lillard put his heart on his sleeve in Portland. And over those 11 years, I haven't seen one NBA player say, hey, I'm going to go to Portland and help Damian Lillard get over the hump and get to the finals or anything like that. We haven't seen it. In 11 years, you can look around the league and it's just like, we haven't seen it. We just haven't seen it. And thinking about that, it's like, what are they expecting to get from that third pick, right? Are you expecting to get Joel Embiid? Potentially what's going down in Philly with everything, James Harden leaving. Joel Embiid can potentially want out. And his first option is going to be Portland to team up with Dame. I don't think that's logical. Is Giannis Antetokounmpo going to request a trade from the Milwaukee Bucks? Is Portland on his list? He's already in Milwaukee. I doubt he's going to Portland. No, I don't see that. Jaylen Brown, whatever extension he's going to get from the Boston Celtics, are they going to look to flip that and then get a rebuild there and try to get that third pick? I doubt that I would want to trade Jaylen Brown for that third pick if I'm the Boston Celtics. I doubt that. You're already in that youth community. You have Jason Tatum. You have a team there that's close to winning the NBA Finals. I doubt that you want to do that. And I'm just looking around. Is Miami a destination that you're going to get Tyler Hero and some other picks? No, that's not a smart one. Anthony Davis is in LA. Yeah, I'm looking around the NBA and I'm trying to find somebody. And it's like, is the answer DeAndre Ayton? No. Is it Karl Anthony Towns? Like, how far are you moving the needle with Damian Lillard and Karl Anthony Towns in that Western Conference? Like, I just don't feel like trading that third pick gives you enough help for Dame to contend and continue to try to win. I just don't. Like, are you better than the Nuggets? No. Or on the verge of going to the NBA Finals? No. Are you better than the Memphis Grizzlies with their young talent and what they've been able to do over the past couple of years and build that team? No. Are you better than the Sacramento Kings? I will say no. That offense is legendary, and what they've been able to do behind De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, I don't think you guys are better. Are you better than what the Clippers are doing, whatever they're doing with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, whatever future moves they're making? I don't think so, and I don't know. I think the Clippers are going to be able to figure something out to at least be competitive and stay contenders. Are you better than Phoenix with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant? Absolutely not. You're just not. I don't think you're better than them. I don't think you have enough depth. I don't think you would have enough players there to pair with Dame to try to do something. Are you better than New Orleans, right, with Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, his former running mate, or Zion Williamson? No. The Pelicans were a number one seed before they started. Everything went downhill with injuries and everything. And maybe that's the course of the West and all the injuries and stuff that was happening. But no, you are not better than them. Are you better than OKC? No, you're not better than SGA, Josh Giddey, and returning Chet Holmgren and whatever Sam Presti does with all those picks in Oklahoma City. They've been able to build. I don't think you're better than them. Are you better than Dallas Mavericks, who I think you're on par with because you have superstar for superstar, Damian Lillard, Luka Doncic, guys that can take over games and lead you to at least a good record? I think you're on par with them. You're better than the Spurs. You're better than the Rockets, you're better than Utah. That's where you are. You are on the bottom half of that tier trying to get out of the play-in. That's where you are currently. I don't think you're going to be better than that with whatever trade you tried to do with that third pick. I just don't think so. Maybe there's something I'm not thinking about or not seeing, but no, I don't see it. And just looking at the timeline for the Portland Trailblazers, right? Looking at their age group here, Damian Lillard's 32, Jeremy Grant is 29, who's probably going to leave in free agency. Yusuf Nurkic there has a nice little contract, team-friendly contract that will be favorable around the league. And looking at their young players, Shaedon Sharpe is 19 years old. That is where your potential hit is, right? Like, that's where you're looking towards building towards the future with, right? Damian Lillard doesn't fit that timeline. Shaedon Sharpe is going to need a couple years to develop. I don't think Damian Lillard is going to wait until he's 33, 34, 35 years old for Shaedon Sharpe to finally get it together to try to make a run. That just doesn't make any sense anywhere. Anthony Simons recently signed that deal, which is good for him. I feel like he's going to be a part of their future and what they're able to do. So it's time. It's time. And that's okay. It's time to trade Damian Lillard, right? Like, you have this third round pick. You can look towards the future, of course, after the Spurs pick Victor Wembanyama. You have your choice, of course, of drafting Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller, whoever the Hornets do not draft. And those are two avenues where I feel like that's good enough to rebuild and restart your franchise, right? Like, if you get Scoot Henderson and to pair with Shaedon Sharpe, that's at least highlight factory, and you got two guys that you know are going to come in, day out, and work hard and that you can build off of. Brandon Miller will be a nice wing combo with Shaedon Sharpe, and two of those guys, the league is full of wings. It's been a perimeter league, wing league, for over about a decade now. That's where it goes, right? Like, that's where you want to go and have two guys that you can build around and figure it out. That's the pathway for the Trailblazers to get better. And that's no shot on Damian Lillard, right? Like, he's been doing everything for the Portland Trailblazers, staying with him, being loyal, saying, hey, I'm going to be here, signing that contract extension, basically showing other guys, whoever potentially wants to go there, hey, I'm going to be here. I'm here for the long haul. And he has been. And that's respectable. He's an all-star, all-NBA. He's been able to do great things in the league, one of the clutch players in NBA history. But Portland is not going to get that chance to get to the Western Conference Finals. They're not going to have that chance to compete on the top stage of the NBA Finals the way this team is constructed, the way they have built around Damian Lillard the past 11 years. It's just not going to happen. It's just not. And as I said before, that's okay, right? Like, this doesn't have to be Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, Terrell Owens. Hey, I'm going to draw a circle on a tablecloth and then draw a line down and say, hey, this is where we part ways. It doesn't need to be that. Because any of these little knick-knack injuries Dame has been getting over the past couple of years are going to add up. And when they do, is Portland going to sit there and be like, hey, we're going to stick with Dame and ride it out and welcome him back and whatever the case may be? That doesn't happen. It didn't happen to Bernard King. It didn't happen to a lot of people in NBA history, right? Like, once you start getting hurt or having knick-knack injuries, teams will trade you. And they don't care about your loyalty or what you did for them. They will trade you. They will get rid of you. So before we get to that point, because that's what it looks like, that's what it's going to look like, trade him. It's okay. Trade Damian Lillard. It's okay. You don't have to sit here and continue to try to fight and go against the grain. The smart thing to do would be able to draft Scoot Henderson or Brandon Miller and build towards your future. Trade Damian Lillard for a solid young player and some picks and try to rebuild and try to go forward that way, which Portland hasn't been able to do since the 11 years since Damian Lillard has been in uniform with them.